Rebuilding this Coyote oil pump today. I thought I'd walk you guys through what I'm looking for so you can apply that to your current projects if you haven't done the billet oil pump gears already. So check it out. Alright, I got the motor. Okay, I already I stuck these in a vise with some aluminum on it to break these loose, so they're already loose. So I'm just gonna buzz these out real fast. Okay, now that all the screws are out of this, I ran this thing through the hot tank, so there's probably water in here, I'm gonna assume. So now we're just gonna pull the cover off, pretty basic. What I'm looking for here is scarring on this surface. And you can see there is a bit, that's always from debris. A couple other things here. We're gonna initially look at marks on the gear, which you can see as well. This does have a boundary billet oil pump gear in it already. Everything's kind of dirty. So first step I usually do is we're gonna pull everything out of here, just observing things as we do it, right? And then we're gonna clean all the parts up real fast. And I'll show you what this stuff looks like and what to make of it. So I'm gonna put these in the solvent tank real quick and rinse them off. A lot of people don't have a solvent tank or a hot tank or anything at their disposal at home. I mean, you know, just use brake clean, common sense stuff. Should be, just clean all the junk off of it so you can properly inspect it. Okay, now that I got these pieces all cleaned up, take a better look at this. You can see there's some visual marks on that on both sides. Same thing here, there's some marks, but I can't feel any of this. So the pump is okay. Again, same thing here, some wear marks there. And again on this, the backing plate here. I can feel a couple of these, but they're not serious. So what I'm gonna do with this is I'm gonna take, I've got a like basically a steel plate with some fine sandpaper on it. I'm gonna take this, I'm gonna run it over the sandpaper just to pull any high spots off of here that could, you know, continue to cause issues. Once that's all smoothed out, all the high spots are taken off of it, we're basically gonna check the pump relief and oil the thing up and put it back together. It's really pretty simple. So I'm gonna go do that. I'll show you this plate when I'm done running it over the surface here real quick. I'm not gonna do the gears. Honestly, that's just because everything in this is aluminum. Those gears are steel. They're not gonna, they have visual marks on them. There's nothing actually damaged on the gears as far as there's not anything weared, weird isn't a word. But you look in here too, and you wanna look for any kind of galling, any kind of weird signs of anything odd in there. Same thing here on the tips. Again, there's a few small marks in this thing. It's definitely not brand new. But there's nothing that's an issue. Everything feels good. So I'm gonna go surface this plate real fast and we'll go through the rest of the reassembly process. Okay, now I've sanded that plate. Again, you can still see these marks. These are really slight. I can somewhat feel them, but they're slight enough to where there isn't an issue. If you're expecting these things to be perfect or you're gonna replace the pump, that's fine if you feel that way, but it's often not necessary. We rebuild these things all the time and there's always wear marks on these oil pumps, right? So a little bit in here, same thing. I can't feel these at all though. So pump looks good. I am now going to put this thing back together. One thing we gotta do real quick before we put it back together is just check the pressure relief. So I just use a screwdriver. I don't know if you know how the pump works, just a little explanation of this. This is the inlet, this is the outlet. This, through this hole here, is the oil pressure relief. So when it sees excess pressure here, which I don't know what these are set to, I don't remember, but when it sees excess pressure there, this valve opens and allows the oil to bypass back to the inlet of the pump. So essentially, if that thing stays open, you're gonna have a 1/2 inch diameter oil leak all the time. So bad deal, right? So you always wanna check these, make sure they're okay. It's a little difficult in the Coyotes to move these really far. I just use a screwdriver, make sure the thing moves and is seated all the way correctly. I mean, I'm barely moving it, but it works and it is seated on its stop. I also air leak check them with just a blowgun, just really simple. And that stuff all checked out okay. So at that point, we're ready to put this thing back together. So pretty straightforward. I just take my assembly oil here. I'll put a little bit on the outside of the gear. Some people will use grease in their oil pumps when they put them together. That's fine. I know this thing isn't gonna sit for a long duration, so this is just, it's actually Joe Gibbs assembly oil, so it's a high viscosity oil. You're gonna dab some obviously on all of the surfaces here. And then I'll put some on the pump side of it as well. Again, nothing too severe, just enough to get everything wet. Drop the gear in there. I'm gonna do the same on this. A little here. A little here, and at this point, I'm gonna put some in these cavities. I'm gonna spin the pump over just to make sure all of the surfaces do have oil on them. Obviously, this thing doesn't spin like it does with the engines in there, nothing holding it straight, but give you an idea anyway. Then this thing's obviously got oil on the top of it, so it's ready to go back together. We're gonna stick the cover back on here and then start putting bolts back in it. So what I'll do is I'll start a couple of these bolts just to hold the cover in place, and then I'll run over, I'll put this back in my soft jawed vise, and I'll grab some Loctite and I'll start the rest of the bolts in, pull these 2 bolts back out, re-Loctite them, and then put all the bolts in and torque them. They torque to 89 inch-pounds. And again, dab a Loctite on the end of them, send it, and yeah, should be good to go. So that's a quick oil pump, Coyote oil pump rebuild deal.